Hello and good morning. This is Pop Thong Saktasukon with reporting on the news about middle-aged engineer's recent fatal shooting of a 17-year-old schoolboy. The shooting took place in Chonburi on Saturday, February the 4th, after an argument about parking at a local market, which was followed by a road rage incident and fist fight. Now to get your more detailed explanation of what really happened on that day, let's get to Kun Pichapha, our on-site reporter, reporting from the residence of Kun Suthep.
Thank you, Kun Pop Thong, and now I'm with Kun Suthep, who's gonna explain to us what really happened on that day. So, Kun Suthep, what happened on that day and what causes the incident?
Okay. So I have to tell you back to the grocery store. I was in the car sitting with for my mom because she went inside to buying some stuff there, and when we finished and about to leave, but we saw that there was a van blocking us in front of our car and also a car blocking us behind us as well. So I decided to reach the van and ask them politely to move out. And I saw a group of teenagers inside the van, and they seemed to be unpleasant about my request and maybe thought that we are rushing them out. So they show a bad manner to us and start an argument with me.
So, was there any physical contact at that point?
No, not yet. After in our conversation, the van moved away as we request, but after we went off and driving for a while back to Bangkok, we saw a van following us as well. But the point is there was a Vios car following us as well, and they come to the speed and stay right to us. So we decided to pull over. Yeah.
Was there any other person helping you at the moment?
I have to continue telling my story first. After we decided to pull over, my wife went off to see what happened, and then the van suddenly come in, and a group of teenagers rushing to my car. They try to open the door, and then after they can't open the door, and then they start yelling at me, and after that they hit right into my face and my glasses slip off. So I plead them, enough, there was a child and a grandchild and an old man in the car. So they seems to not listen to me. So, and after that they tried to open the door on my grandchild's side. And at that point, I think that I have to protect my family, so I grabbed the gun in the car, and then I didn't wear glasses at that time, so I just randomly shoot them. But it happened that I shoot at the boy right in his face.
At that time, if you could go back in time, do you think there should be other action besides shooting that boy to stop the incident?
I could say that is no other alternative because we think that for their physical attack to me and their aim to attack my family as well, we think that this can turn into a deadly harm to my family. So I think that this is the best way to help me prevent out of this situation. And I have to say it again, I just randomly shoot them. I didn't mean to aim at that boy and shoot right at him.
Okay, thank you, Kun Suthep. So now let's hear from the other side of the story. I'm with Kun Maniporn, the mother of the schoolboy. So first, we just want to say that we're deeply sorry for your loss. Are there anything you want to say?
His friend told me that my son's gonna talk with the engineers, but he already prepared to shoot. Why did he need to carry a gun for vacation with his families? Why? Is he a really good person? If I shoot his kid too, will he be okay? It's not fair. I don't want anything but my son back. I want him back. Please give us justice. I ask for justice.
Okay, thank you, Kun Maniporn. Now back to you, Kun Pop Thong.
Thank you, Ms. Pichapha. And now that is the issue. So we would like to know if legally was the engineer's action considered excess of self-defense, as many show sympathy for Suthep as they believe he acted in self-defense. And now I'm with the law experts who is here to answer to our questions. Please welcome Ms. Pimnipa and Mr. Risara. So let's start with Ms. Pimnipa first. how would you consider this incident?
First, we have to consider whether this is a crime or not. Under Section 288, whoever murdered other person shall be imprisoned by death or imprisoned from 15 years to 20 years. For these issues, engineering charging a teen should be a crime that must pass three conditions. First, whether it is a criminal act. In this case, we can see that there is an affirmative physical act whereby the engineer has shot the teen. This means that there is an excess of the criminal act. Second, criminal state of mind. So we see that whether there is an intent to kill the teen in this case. So by shooting the teen, any reasonable person has a knowledge that shooting will cause the death. Third, the linkage between the cause and the results. So because the engineer shot the teen and this caused the teen to be dead. Therefore, passing all these conditions mean that there is a criminal liability for the engineer. But however, can he raise any defense or legal ground to deny this criminal liability? We see that there are possibilities of raising the defense of the self-defense.
Okay, so regarding to your point where you talk about self-defense, we have to consider conditions before we can say that he can raise self-defense as a defense for denying his legal criminal liability. So to start off here, we see that under Section 68, it actually states that any person is to commit an act for defending his own right or the right of another person in order to be exempt from danger arising out of violence or torture to the law and such danger to be imminent, if reasonable, and have committed under circumstances, such act is a lawful defense and such person shall not have guilt. Now, to break it down further and make it easier for you to understand, what this actually means is that you must pass 4 conditions for Mr. Suthep to be able to raise self-defense as a defense for him. First condition here is actually that a danger which arises from an act of violence and violate the law. Now the second condition is that such danger must be imminent. Third, we see that he must be defending the right of his own or right of another person. And lastly, the violence or the force he used must be proportional, commit against the person who is causing harm. So now let's us analyze each of the 4 different conditions. So starting off with the first condition, that the danger must arise out of act of violence that violates the law. We actually see that in this case, the teen forcefully injured the engineer in his own car and were about to injure his grandchild and family as well. So we see that under Section 295, it stated that whoever caused injury to the other person in bodily or mind is said to commit bodily harm and shall be punished with imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or fine not exceeding 4,000 baht or both. So we see that under this Section 295, the teens actually violated the law in committing bodily harm against Mr. Suthep. So moving on to the second condition of the danger being imminent. We see that at that moment, the teen were attacking him in his own vehicle and were about to attack his grandchild. So that means that the danger is happening at that moment and is imminent. So we see that it also passed the second condition. So taking a look at the third condition where it says that he must be defending the right of his own or the right of another person, we actually see that at that moment he was defending his own body from not being injured and were defending his family from not being injured. So we see that it passed a third condition as well. However, when we move to the fourth condition, it actually states that the force he used must be proportional to the person who was committing the danger against him. So we see that this is the area where it actually raises issue. He, in that moment, uses deadly force against the teen who was actually injuring him physically. So is deadly force actually reasonable for him to be used in this area? And we see that we must further discuss about that.
So, as Ms. Marissa said, whether this is an excessive self-defense or not. So, we must discuss this in the following criteria. So first, is this act proportionally to the threats or not? So the cause specifically set forth a situation whereby this deadly force is appropriate in the situation to protect himself from death, severe injury, rapes and kidnapping. The second is that the victim has approached him and surrounded by his car. He punched him in the face, and then in our view, real punch alone may not reflect a deadly impact to the engineer. And then the engineer shot the victim right on his chest. So this act at least responds to the imminent threat sauna. Did he have alternatives other than shooting the victim or not? So in this case, we think that maybe yes. If no, what is the least action he could do with a gun? So he could shoot to the sky to threaten the victim, or whether he could shoot downward to avoid fatal points such as feet or legs. So in this case, there's not any repeat action, so no, he is shot only once. And any chance that he could know whether the victim carried any fatal weapons. So yes, the engineer could see that the victim and his friends came down bare hands and only used physical attack on him. So in this case, the penalties for the engineer can claim that he protected himself and his family from the imminent danger following to Section 68. However, considering all retrievable evidence, this action is considered to be an excessive use of the self-defense, as it appeared there's other alternative response that he could do at the moment. So he therefore is subject to murder crimes according to Section 288. However, he can claim for the Section 69 related to the self-defense by considering all means. He may have inflicted with the punishment by the court depending on the court judgments. Court may reduce the punishment that he will receive from Section 288 or may not impose any punishment if the court considers that the section is arose from excitement, fright, and fear.
Okay, so that was the clarification of the case, and thank you to our law specialist, Ms. Ravisara and Ms. Pimnipa, and we'll keep you updated on this issue, and please stay tuned for the sport news in the next break.